Thank you, Claudine. Well, as we mentioned a few minutes ago, it appears the statewide mask mandate could soon be rescinded. But we know that the continuing drop in new cases does not mean the virus is gone for good. What you may not be aware of is that a local group of researchers is helping track the virus's future and perhaps shaping some of the response. Channel 2's Ron Plants gives us a look inside a special UB lab in this Two on Your Side original story.
You'd probably miss the sign on this building on the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, but the Center of Excellence for Bioinformatics and Life Sciences houses a unique resource which is making a difference in the ongoing battle against COVID. The core sequencing facility blends certain disciplines.
Bioinformatics really is the intersection of math, computer science, and biology.
And last summer, the state decided to harness that combination to look for the variants or strains of COVID in patient lab samples they now get from the Erie County Health Department, local hospitals, and a private lab.
So if you think about your genome, or SARS-CoV-2 genome, as being the instruction manual for the organism.
Then after a complicated series of lab processes, the analysis.
The next step is to then compare that sequence, that instruction manual from that particular sample, back to the original Wuhan virus and see where there are changes, where there are typos that happened.
Because viruses like COVID mutate. And over time, the technology here has improved to help researchers keep up.
When I first started 10 years ago doing sequencing, it usually took about a month to do 1 or 2 samples. On this instrument, the NovaSeq that we have here, which is very high throughput, we can do those same type of samples in 24 hours. It uses lasers, it uses high-speed cameras. It's a very fast instrument.
So how do they use that bioinformation? Well, it can help with determining transmission patterns, and
it allows vaccine developers to be more intentional with the types of mRNA, for instance, that they include in vaccines. As we're sequencing and finding mutations in these genes, it helps the basic scientist to get a better understanding of how this virus works. It's a new virus. We don't know that much about it.
And while that information goes to the state, it also goes worldwide, shared with all researchers.
This is a global database that has been receiving samples of SARS-CoV-2 from end of December 2019 is when the very first SARS-CoV-2 sequence was uploaded from China.
That realization that they may also be a resource for political decision makers hitting lab staffers as well.
We don't necessarily dictate that policy, but we can provide the information for making an informed choice.
Nationally and internationally, this is a huge hub, and people don't realize that exists in Buffalo, New York.
It's also interesting that this scientific seed, if you will, from which all this technological know-how and now this crucial work for COVID emerged, was actually planted here at UB back in the 1990s. With state and federal funding commitments which began during Governor Pataki's administration and then ongoing collaboration with hospitals and local research institutions, the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus and the Genomic Sequencing Core Facility is positioned to do much more in the future.
All of the things that we do here, whether it's cancer, COVID, heart disease, asthma, autism, all of those different disorders can be investigated using genomic sequencing.
Ron Plants, Channel 2 News.